I'm going to be showing you how to use Bluebird's portal called Vantage, Bluebird Vantage, to look up bus information as well as wiring diagrams. So first we need to enter a vehicle. So we need to get a VIN or body number to put in here. I went ahead and just Googled buses, and I found that this site here, Tillery Bus, which is based in New Mexico, they post VIN numbers for the vehicles they're selling. I don't know why it comes up as a Suburban, but if we go here to new buses, and let's go with Bluebird. And it doesn't matter that there's no photo available, we should still get a VIN. So here's a VIN for this bus. This is a 2021 Vision. Vision is a conventional bus, so it has a hood like a conventional truck. One of these guys, that's a conventional or a Vision. This is a cutaway bus, which is a four-door GM chassis, and then you have a Transit, which is either a front engine, like pictured here, or a rear engine, like pictured here. So I'm going to go ahead and paste that VIN number here. And so this is all free, open access. I'm not logged in. So by putting in that VIN number, it's going to give us vehicle information. So this is Tillery Bus out of New Mexico. It has a Cummins engine. The model is a BBCV, which is for the conventional or Vision. And the 4-digit number here indicates the body length. So this is 33 feet 3 inches, which is also shown here under length. We've got the model year 2021. We've got a build date. So this is the completion of the build date there. It's interesting that this is August 19, yet it's a model 2021. So they're a bit ahead on their models. It's kind of weird, especially for like Cummins dealers and stuff. They kind of find that very odd when they get this bus in and it's in 2019 and it says it's a model year 2021. Anyway, so it's delivered to the dealer. This delivery date is delivered to the dealer on this date. So in October of 2020. So I guess it sat at Bluebird for almost a year. That's crazy, or a little over a year. Anyway, so we have some more details down in this area, this section here. So we've got the engine model. It's the ISB 6.7. It's got air brakes. The wheelbase is 273. Tire size. Let's see what else. Anything else interesting? We've got the VIN reprinted there. We also have the VIN printed here. Bluebird primarily uses body numbers for identification purposes. And we also have this chassis number here. And these 7 digits characters are the last 7 of the VIN. So just something to note there. Yeah, GVWR for the front axle, GVWR for the rear axle, total GVWR. And then down here we've got serial numbers. We've got engine serial number, transmission. We've got axle serial numbers, DPF serial number, and then even an ignition key code. So all that is available without logging in, available to the public. So here under reference, we've got some driver handbooks available. So this is not an electric bus. This is a Cummins powered, a diesel. So that would be this driver's handbook. You can click on this and it will open the driver's handbook. It's pretty useful, especially for doing driver training, because then you can use the information directly out of this manual to provide during that training. And then service manuals. So we should have a similar breakdown on the service manual side. We have volume 1, volume 2. So Cummins powered, those would be diesel. And then Ford. Ford offers the 6.8 liter engine back in 19, the 6.8 liter V10. And it comes with a couple options for fuel. You can get it gas powered, gasoline. You can also get it with propane powered. So that's what's available here in these volumes. A lot of the rest of the information will be the same. Chassis and body information really doesn't change between Cummins and Ford. But if you are looking at transmission or engine related stuff, even wiring diagrams, it's going to be more specific to the power plant that's in there. So that's service manual. And it's going to open similar. If I click this link, it's going to open similar. These documents are very large, so it does take a minute to download. So I'm going to go back to this unit details tab, and now I'm going to go to wiring schematics. So this is where all the wiring schematics for this bus are. When Bluebird builds buses, they don't do what they would typically call like a stock bus. Like this is, a base model Vision or a base model rear engine or whatever. Everything is option based. So the dealer has to spec all the options, and then based on those options, they sometimes use the word feature interchangeably. So this diagram is for this feature for a step light. So just because it's a school bus, you can't just say, oh, well, it's a school bus like every other school bus. It's the same, because there are likely significant differences between the state and then even within the school districts in the way that they order and spec their buses. So I'm going to go down here and pull up just let's pull up engine drawing. Engine will be fun. So again, this is Cummins powered. So if we look at this here, this is it's just a PDF drawing, and this is going to be the engine connector, ECM connector on the engine. I'm going to zoom in a little bit, show you what this looks like. So engine connector, Bluebird gives it this number, and this is the OEM connector on the engine ECM. So on a Cummins ECM, there are two connectors, two primary connectors. Some of them have a third connector for powers and grounds, but they have two main connectors. One of them is going to be an OEM connector, which is going to go to all of your OEM stuff and get stuff like your key switch or your coolant level sensor or cruise control switches, fan clutch, stuff that is specific to the OEM that they're going to be wiring into. All of the stuff like injectors or cam position, crank position sensors, stuff like that that's strictly Cummins is going to be on that Cummins connector, which is a completely different connector. So this is the OEM connector, so Bluebirds on the Bluebird, and my computer just froze. I didn't. So you'll notice here that this connector is, it's not in order as far as the pin numbers. They do that to make it easier to view the circuits, so that the circuits are more straight and direct and not crossing as much. So in the bottom right hand corner, it'll give us some details. So this drawing was made in 2016, and this is the drawing number here. And so that would indicate that really nothing has changed on this connector since 2016. So looking at a few items on here, let's look at the VGT switch. So VGT is for the variable geometry turbo switch. And what that allows the driver to do is flip a switch on the dash that uses the turbo as an engine brake, as an exhaust brake. And so here it's indicating a dash switch, and that these pins here, so pin 2B is normally closed to pin 1, and then when the rocker is switched, it closes the connection from 2B to pin 3. And then that's going to send whatever signal is coming in on 2B to the engine ECM. And so to see that, we would need to pull up this diagram, driver's control module, sheet 11. I believe that is. I don't know why it has that 10A there. Oh, it's 10A and 11. Okay. And so one thing to note here, because that's going to show you those connections there. But if we follow this is a splice point here. If we follow this back, it actually goes back to ECM return. So it takes a ground from this ECM connector on pin 62. It's a 20 gauge wire that's tan in color, and etched on that wire it says STLRET. And so if we follow that, it's another splice here, it goes to a few other things, a few items, and it continues along. So now since after the splice, it breaks it down and adds a letter after that connection, or after that label. So now it's STLRETA. We have E, B, and C available down here as well. So we follow that back through this connector, C01, C701, and in the service manual, it'll show you where these connector locations are if you need to find those. It is in the service manual. And so on pin 1 of this connector, it's going to continue. So to note here, so this indicator here, we have an arrow on this side and then like a, or I guess you can call it a greater than and less than, greater than symbol. That indicates that this side is a socket and this side is a pin. So if you're going to go in there and test at this point, it's helpful to know whether you're going to be looking at a socket or a pin. Anyway, so that goes back. So basically what the switch is doing is it's taking a ground from the ECM and sending it to down this wire, through the switch, down this wire to pin 68 on this ECM connector. And then when the ECM sees that input, then it enables that VGT break system. And there are other requirements that need to be met for that to even do anything. But that's that. So that kind of goes briefly over how to pull up wiring diagrams, some of the nomenclature that's on here or the symbols that are being used. Here is a relay. I do want to touch bases on that real quick to kind of go over that because it's another symbol that's commonly used on a Bluebird diagram. So here we've got intake heater solenoid. So this is going to be a large relay or solenoid, and it uses an electromagnet to pull the switch or to close the circuit. And 85 and 86 are going to be your standard connections on the coil of a relay or solenoid. So on one side we're going to have power, on the other side we're going to have ground. And then when we have that power and ground, this electromagnet is going to pull this bar. This bar is going to close the circuit from this 250 amp fuse on a 2-gauge red cable on into pin 1, or into, it's going to be a lug 1. And then the power is going to go out on lug 2 out to the intake air heater mounted on the engine. And so, yeah, just wanted to kind of go over the relay and what that looks like here in the Bluebird drawings. You can see another relay here for the fan control. Same thing, this is going to be a micro relay. So the numbers are a little bit different. It's going to be, numbers 1 and 2 are going to be the coil. And then same thing, you have an electromagnet, normally closed, normally open, and then your source, which in this case is going to be power. And so it sends power out to the fan clutch right here. So with all this, it's going to go out to the fan clutch to drive that, and then this other side of the fan clutch is always grounded. And so this here is going to go probably to a fuse, right? On the start and charge sheet 2A, probably going to come from a fuse, and then it's going to go through the relay out to the fan clutch. So I hope you found this video helpful. One other thing to, go over, you can always save these drawings as a PDF onto your desktop or onto your computer, so you can grab them later. Maybe you'll be out in the field or taking them out to your vehicle and not want to be tethered with your laptop or whatever to an internet connection, so you can always do that. You can always also print these. However, in the standard format, letter size paper, it is going to be small. This print is going to be pretty small. You would need you'd probably need a magnifying glass, something like that, to follow along better. Or you can look at it, print it out, look at it side by side with the computer, mark this stuff or highlight the lines that you need to follow or trace on your vehicle. I have found that being able to print these in ledger-sized paper is very helpful. So an 11 by 17, which would be twice as big as a standard sheet of paper. That's very helpful for being able to actually read what's going on and then follow your circuits. Okay, so that's about it for this video. I hope you found this brief tutorial on Bluebird's Vantage helpful, And please let me know in the comments if you'd like to see more information, especially with what's available on Vantage. If you're interested in seeing what is available if you have login access to Vantage. Access to Vantage is free. It's just a matter of contacting your local Bluebird dealer, whether you're a school district or if you're a repair facility. You can contact your local Bluebird dealer and gain access through them. There's some information you'll have to provide to them, and they'll be able to set you up, and you'll have more details and information available to you with that. So let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment. Take care.